When a narcissist decides to go no contact with their victim, the move isn't about healing, it's about control. They want to punish, to leave the other person in confusion, and to maintain power by withdrawing suddenly. At first, they feel powerful. In their mind, they imagine the victim suffering, longing, and chasing after them. But behind that mask, the story is more complex. Their first reaction is triumph. Going no contact feels like victory, because they believe it proves their dominance. They walk away thinking, now they'll realize how much they need me. It's a performance meant to reinforce their illusion of superiority. Yet this triumph is shallow. It's built on assumptions, not reality, and it starts to crack quickly. Narcissists expect their absence to create chaos. They want their victim to spiral, to beg for answers. If no pleading comes, their sense of power is shaken. What began as triumph soon turns into anxiety. Silence from the victim feels like betrayal, and the narcissist begins questioning whether their strategy actually worked the way they imagined. This is when paranoia creeps in. The narcissist starts to wonder, are they moving on? Are they happy without me? Have they found someone better? Their imagination becomes their worst enemy. The very silence they used as punishment now torments them because it creates uncertainty. Their ego feeds on control, and uncertainty feels like starvation. If the victim doesn't chase after them, the narcissist grows restless. They may start checking social media, reaching out to mutual friends, or inventing excuses to see what's happening. Curiosity masks regret. Though they won't admit it, their no-contact strategy feels like it's backfiring. Instead of punishing the victim, they're left feeling invisible and forgotten. The next reaction is anger. Narcissists expect their absence to leave a hole, but if the victim seems fine, it enrages them. They may lash out with insults, spread rumors, or try to undermine the victim's reputation. This anger isn't about hate, it's about loss of control. Their rage is fueled by fear that they've become irrelevant. Sometimes they try to reframe the narrative. They tell themselves and others, I chose to leave because I deserve better. This story protects their pride, but it's fragile. The need to keep explaining shows their insecurity. True confidence doesn't need performance. Their insistence on rewriting the story is evidence of the cracks beneath the mask. Narcissists may also feel a strange emptiness. For all their cruelty, they still relied on their victim for validation. When they cut contact, they cut off their own supply. At first, they distract themselves with new admirers or projects, but as the days stretch longer, they realize no one else gives them the same consistent attention they once had. This emptiness triggers regret, though they'll never admit it. They may think about the stability, loyalty, or patience they once received. In quiet moments, memories of their victim resurface. These aren't fueled by love but by need. They regret losing a steady source of validation, and their no-contact decision begins to feel less like power and more like loss. Over time, narcissists may circle back. They test the waters with small gestures, liking old photos, sending short messages, or creating excuses to reconnect. These attempts are framed as casual, but the motivation is desperation. They want to see if the door is still open. When the victim stays firm, their no-contact move feels like a trap they set for themselves. When the narcissist realizes their silence isn't breaking you, desperation grows. They may cycle through different masks, rage one moment, charm the next, trying to predict what will crack your resolve. But your calmness unnerves them. By choosing not to react, you expose the truth. Their power only existed when you played the game, and now you're not. They may begin hoovering, the classic tactic of trying to pull you back. Suddenly they appear with sweet words, apologies, or even confessions of change. These gestures are not genuine healing. They're calculated attempts to regain control. Some narcissists try to replace you quickly, creating new partners or friendships. But these connections are shallow, built to soothe their ego. Deep inside, comparisons never stop. Every smile, every moment of peace you showed lingers in their memory, no matter how loudly they boast about moving on. Regret whispers louder in their quiet hours. They also attempt to control the story. To outsiders, they may claim you were unstable, ungrateful, or impossible to please. This smear campaign helps them protect their pride. But even as they spread lies, they obsess over your silence. The more they talk about you, the clearer it becomes. They never truly let go, and their no contact failed. As time stretches, paranoia intensifies. They imagine you laughing, loving, and building a life without them. These thoughts torment them because they destroy the illusion that you couldn't survive alone. Your independence is their nightmare. They regret choosing no contact because it handed you the perfect chance to prove you never needed them. Their next move is often self-pity. They paint themselves as the victim of your distance, telling others they were abandoned or betrayed. This role reversal comforts them temporarily, but the very act of seeking pity reveals regret. If they truly believed they were in control, they wouldn't need sympathy. Their pity party exposes the weakness beneath. The narcissist's pride stops them from admitting regret, but their actions tell the story. They stalk, they gossip, they return in waves. Each attempt contradicts their initial choice to go no contact. It proves the tactic wasn't power. It was panic. They thought disappearing would make them stronger, but instead it left them exposed and craving. They also struggle with identity. Narcissists define themselves by the people they control. When you no longer play your part, their sense of self feels unstable. They wonder, who am I without their attention? This identity crisis fuels their misery. They regret the very choice they once believed showed strength, realizing it cost them their stage. Narcissists may also swing into overcompensation. They flaunt achievements, exaggerate happiness, and show off new admirers. But behind the performance, emptiness grows. They hope you'll see their show and feel regret. Yet deep down, they're the ones regretting. Their stage displays only highlight the absence of the genuine connection they once had with you. When you remain silent, the narcissist's ego crumbles. They relied on your defense, your explanations, your emotions. No contact starves them. Their tactics bounce back like echoes with no audience. Each attempt to bait you into breaking fails, and every failure deepens the wound. They regret underestimating your strength and overestimating their control. They may lash out in anger again, unable to tolerate defeat. But this anger doesn't hurt you anymore. Instead, it eats away at them. Rage without impact feels pointless. Each outburst reveals their frustration, not power. They regret realizing that silence dismantles their control more thoroughly than any confrontation ever could. Some will return suddenly, acting as though nothing happened. This is their last resort. They hope familiarity will erase the silence. But you've changed. Their no contact gave you space to heal. What they regret most is teaching you you're stronger without them. Now their return feels hollow, because the grip they once had has vanished. When narcissists realize you no longer crave closure, regret hits hard. They depended on your desire for answers. But silence gave you clarity they can't touch. They regret pulling away because it exposed the illusion of their importance. You moved forward, while they remained stuck in the games they can no longer play with you. They may spiral into depression. Without validation, the emptiness grows unbearable. No contact was meant to empower them, but it stripped away their supply. Their regret mixes with bitterness, leaving them restless and lost. They hate the silence but can't admit it, so they suffer quietly, trapped in the cage they built for themselves. Triangulation may return as another tactic. They flaunt new partners, hoping you'll break. But when you remain silent, regret deepens. They realize no performance can pull you back. The show is for nothing. Their attempt to mirror superiority only highlights their weakness. Silence dismantles every weapon they try, leaving them exposed and humiliated. They also feel envy. Seeing you thrive, laugh, and grow without them confirms the truth they can't bear. They regret leaving because it proved you never needed them. Each smile, each achievement becomes a reminder that they lost not just control, but someone who gave them more patience than they deserved. That envy fuels their regret endlessly. Some narcissists keep circling back, even years later. They hope time softened your silence. But every failed attempt adds to their regret. They realize too late that they lost someone irreplaceable. Their ego won't let them say it, but their persistence proves it. No contact left a permanent scar in their mind, one they can't erase. No contact flips their tactics against them. They once used silence to punish, but now they feel punished. The mirror is unbearable. They regret their arrogance because it taught you how to win. You played their game better by refusing to play at all. This reversal leaves them restless, stuck in a loop of regret and rage. They may even fear your silence means exposure. What if they tell others the truth? What if my mask falls? Their paranoia rises. Regret mixes with fear because they realize they lost control not just over you, but over the story they crafted. Even their arrogance becomes fragile. They may act like they don't care, but cracks appear. Their defensiveness, their over-explanations, their constant need to mention you all reveal the truth. They regret walking away because they can't truly let go. Their pride screams denial, but their behavior whispers the truth. They miss the control they once had. Some narcissists will create crises just to lure you back. They may claim illness, financial problems, or dramatic life events. But when you stay silent, regret deepens. They realize their tricks no longer work. The mirror of no contact shows them their tactics are powerless. That loss of power leaves them desperate and filled with regret. Regret grows strongest when they see your peace. They expected you broken, yet you're glowing. Your calm dismantles their chaos. This reversal shakes them. In their mind, peace without them feels like betrayal. They regret cutting contact because it became proof they were never needed. Your healing is the silent revenge they never saw coming. They may fantasize about your return, imagining you begging for another chance. These fantasies soothe their ego, but they're born from regret. They wouldn't need to daydream if they were truly content. The fact they still script your return in their mind proves their no contact was not freedom. It was a decision they now regret deeply. When new relationships fail, regret hits harder. They realize no one offers the same devotion you once did. Every disappointment reminds them of what they lost. Their no contact removed the one person who endured their chaos. Though they'll never admit it, this recognition fuels their regret, haunting them through every shallow connection they attempt. They may double down on arrogance, pretending to thrive. But arrogance is thin armor. When silence lingers, their regret leaks through. They wonder why they can't stop thinking about you, why their games no longer work. Their ego won't admit it, but their mind replays what they lost. Every boast hides regret they can't silence. Your silence exposes their vulnerability. They built an identity around control, but your detachment dismantled it. They regret going no contact because it gave you power they never wanted you to find. Now they're trapped between pride and longing, unable to undo what they started. Silence turned their weapon into their downfall. The longer the silence, the deeper the scar. They may find new distractions, but memories of you linger. Regret doesn't fade for them. It festers. They thought no contact would weaken you, but it only strengthened you. That outcome is unbearable. They regret teaching you independence because it destroyed the illusion they were your anchor. They may even seek validation from those around you, hoping to hear you still care. But when they learn you don't, regret intensifies. Knowing you've moved on without looking back cuts their ego deeply. They regret underestimating you, realizing too late that silence can be the most powerful response of all. Sometimes, they crumble into quiet despair. They'll never show it publicly, but loneliness weighs on them. Regret whispers at night, reminding them of the bond they broke. They thought silence would punish you, but it punished them instead. Their ego may fight the truth, but their heart knows. They regret choosing absence over connection. The irony is that narcissists hate silence, yet they created it. No contact becomes the monster they can't escape. They regret pulling away because it trapped them with themselves. Their manipulative games need an audience, and without one, they feel empty. Their no contact reveals the truth. Without control, they are powerless and lost. Even when they try to return, silence remains a wall. You've grown stronger, and they can feel it. Their regret is sharpened by rejection, because it shows them they can't re-enter your life. The closure they sought through control is now beyond their reach. This finality leaves them restless, regretting the one tactic they thought would make them invincible. Your strength becomes their regret. They believed you'd always respond, but your silence proved otherwise. They regret underestimating your resilience. No contact flipped the script, turning the victim into the one with power. This realization unsettles them deeply, because it shows the truth. The control they thought permanent was only ever an illusion. They may carry this regret for years, revisiting the memory of you in quiet moments. They wonder if they could have played it differently, but their pride blocks honesty. Instead, they cycle through anger, denial, and longing. Regret lingers like a shadow, following them long after the no contact began, haunting them with reminders of their failure. Each failed attempt to regain your attention deepens their regret. They try different strategies, but none succeed. The silence is louder than their words, stronger than their games. They realize too late that they taught you how to resist them. This bitter truth settles in their chest, leaving them with nothing but regretful memories. When they see you thriving without them, their regret burns brightest. Your growth is proof that their absence was never the punishment they imagined. Instead, it became your freedom. They regret empowering you unintentionally, because your independence is the very thing they feared most. Your silence broke the chains they once used to bind you. Even if they move on outwardly, regret remains hidden beneath every mask. They may smile, boast, or pretend indifference, but deep inside they carry the scar of losing control over you. Their no contact wasn't victory, it was self-sabotage, and though they'll never admit it, they regret letting silence expose the hollowness they tried to hide. So how do narcissists react after going no contact with their victims? At first, with pride and arrogance, but over time, the truth emerges. Regret, envy, anger, and emptiness consume them. Their tactic backfires, leaving them haunted by the silence they created. In the end, no contact doesn't break you, it breaks them, piece by piece.